welcome back to So What's New in Biscuit Tin. I'm Jess.
And I'm Sam.
And today we're bringing you an absolutely cracking episode. Sam, I need you to help me. I'm doing too much sewing.
Me too. I've overcommitted to too many things, Jess.
And that is what we are talking about today. We are talking about the overcommitting vibes. That's not necessarily always a bad thing. Sometimes it's how you get involved with stuff. But sometimes it can go a little bit too far and put you under too much pressure. Yeah. So we're going to be chatting a little bit today about what overcommitting looks like.
How it feels.
Some of the guilt that may come along with that. Sometimes how you can feel if you decide not to do something as well. But we're not here to have a go at anyone. We're not here to make anyone feel bad. We're here because
to make you feel better.
We are. And we're also here because we both routinely overcommit.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd share some of our insights from the coalface. But before we do that, Sam, what kind of biscuit are you?
Well, I am the best biscuit I've ever eaten. Right, so this biscuit, never had it before in my life. You will see on Instagram some clips of Jess and I biscuit shopping, because what else does a pair of people with a biscuit podcast do than biscuit shop?
I mean, it's got to have biscuits, really. Yeah. And it was nice to go for a little drive before we started recording, actually. It was quite nice to get outside.
Go into real places.
I know. Like the real people we are.
There are plenty of supermarkets, but we decided to visit Waitrose today.
Solid biscuit aisle, guys. Solid biscuit
and
aisle.
Also a good free-from section. For our US listeners, free from is the sort of section all our supermarkets have now with gluten-free, egg-free, nut-free products. They sort of group it all together in one place.
And we originally started going to that bit of the supermarket because there's a biscuit I'm trying to track down that Waitrose used to sell, and they still have the brand but not the biscuit. So any gluten-free listeners might be familiar with, there's a brand called Pruitt's. They make brilliant gluten-free biscuits, normally full of oats and chocolate, and they used to do quadruple chocolate cookies that I used to be given by my Latin teacher at uni because I couldn't eat the other biscuits he gave everyone, and they basically got me through my entire undergrad dissertation.
So Jess is on the hunt. We had no success there. We have other success though, didn't we? Oh my god, we did.
So Sam's got these biscuits. She's going to tell you about them, but then I haven't tried one yet, so I thought I could live try one.
Oh my goodness, right. I am a lemon melt. They are...
So I forgot you were talking about biscuits.
Yes.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. I mean, it is pretty warm today, and we are sat quite closely to each other.
Guys, you have no idea, we're sat so close to each other.
It's a bit like a gooseberry, because there's only two of us, we're a lemon instead.
We're so close, guys, for our listeners who don't know what we look like. We could probably get in one jumper.
Yes. So these are, I'll read you what it says.
Okay.
Irresistibly tangy... need my glasses. Irresistibly tangy treats dipped in creamy white chocolate.
Oofed.
So they clearly got warm at some point because they were welded together to the point where I had to go in Jess's kitchen and separate them with a knife.
I could hear it, guys.
However, I'm loving the box. I'm loving the fact that the inside of the box has a design as well.
So the brand is Island Bakery, isn't it? Who are from the Isle of Mull. And as a Scottish woman, I am delighted to support a Scottish business.
Yeah. And foil wrapped, always a good sign. Makes a biscuit feel fancy. But they're in a boat.
They are in a gorgeous little boat.
Which is quite gorgeous.
And they're like half shortbread, half chocolate.
Yep. Jess wants one, but she'll have to separate them.
Oh my god. Let's give it a go.
Good luck.
Okay, guys. So I'm going in. Oh. Okay, guys. So I got a biscuity half. I couldn't get a chocolate bit.
That's because it's welded.
It is fully welded. I'm going to try again and get a chocolate bit.
I'm going for a knife now.
Oh, she's going. I am tied to the podcast mic because I've got headphones in. I think we should keep this bit in because I think it's,
I'm like Annika Rice.
I don't know if you guys could hear that, but Sam just said she was like Annika Rice for reasons that are currently unclear. So, do you mean as in challenge Annika?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, people of my age will remember that we mostly watch TV watching Annika Rice run around in a jumpsuit doing challenges. My challenge was to separate a biscuit for Jess.
I mean, good on Annika Rice, really.
Yes.
Oh my god, they're nice.
Yeah, I do hope you did just check the ingredients.
Yeah, I checked in the shop.
We don't want to pause the podcast while Jess has an allergy.
Not be such a pause
Yes.
We could keep recording in A&E, I'm sure.
Okay, yeah, we'll just keep recording Jess while we're...
Don't worry, just be...
Yeah, it's only down the road anyway.
Oh my god. You have to keep talking. I'm eating this. It's great.
Jess is eating one of the lemon melts now. So I'm feeling like a lemon melt today for many reasons, including the fact that it's quite warm and snug in here.
Hot.
Bit crumbly, in a fancy boat. I'm feeling fancy today. Jess is enjoying my outfit today as well. So.
Do you know what? Actually, you do look a bit nautical
I
today.
do.
I'm enjoying it. This is
So,
good.
obviously, you can't see me. You might see the picture appear on our Instagram account.
It'll delight you to know we have started videoing these as well, so you guys can enjoy it with us.
So I am in a dress that I made with a thrifted t-shirt that was originally a Superdry t-shirt that is proper like cobalt blue, like nautical blue, isn't it?
Were you wearing a belt earlier?
I was, yes.
Now,
I've eaten a lot of biscuits now.
No, I'm not commenting on your lack of belt. It's more earlier I thought, oh, she's got a Superdry t-shirt tucked into her skirt.
No.
But no, you don't. Oh my goodness.
And then the bottom half is a vintage St Michael's sheet that was still in the packet when I bought it.
Oh my God.
So it is that, like, it's got that Tyroline. It's got like Tyroline or whatever, so it doesn't crease.
Right.
But that is all shades of blue flowers as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of blueness going on.
She looks like she could be in the south of France. Is that sort of blue?
Well, the sun came out, so...
Oh my God, the sun has not left us alone. It was kind of weird and cold this morning, and I was like, okay, fine. Went for my driving lesson, continued to sweat for an hour, and my driving instructor's like, are you nervous? And I'm like, no, I'm just so warm. Like, I can't. As a Scottish woman, I love the heat, but I'm not exactly used to it.
No, and it was tipping it down yesterday.
It was absolutely chucking it down.
Yeah.
So, I am...
What biscuit, yeah.
Oh my God, I don't know. No, do you know what? I am a packet of egg-free Rocky Road, the one I just ate a minute ago. And it was absolutely great, I'll be honest. So we bought them in the free
Is
from
Rocky Road
section.
a biscuit, or has it got biscuit in it?
It's got biscuit in it, but I think because I ate the whole packet in a
You're
one-er,
full biscuit.
then I have as much biscuit as a sort of normal amount of biscuit would require.
Heavy biscuit content at the minute. We will share on Instagram little reel of us biscuit shopping, especially for our non-English listeners who are very curious about the amount of different biscuits, cookies that we have. So we did take some video just of cookies, which are all the types of biscuits for you as well.
I think we should go back and do some content, but in a different supermarket, so they don't think we're insane. I don't want to rule out Waitrose.
No.
But we should go back and do some content where we talk you through biscuits. So if there's any biscuits our foreign listeners, our listeners overseas don't know what on earth we're talking about, we can talk you through the biscuit aisle and see what we mean.
But also, for our UK listeners, we're very happy to recommend biscuits.
For our UK listeners, if you want to see us prat about in a supermarket, please recommend one.
Yes, messing around in a supermarket near you.
I can see Yvette as someone who would come and mess about in a biscuit aisle with us.
Yeah, look, if anyone wants to meet us at a supermarket and
Quick
wander
pod
around...
record.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we could do a live podcast recording from a biscuit aisle. They'd ask us to move on, but we could do it in sections.
We'll have to find out one of these delis that sells all the fancy biscuits and let us record after hours.
Yeah, we might have to make our accents a bit better though.
There's a nice deli in Wendover.
Ooh.
There we go.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
So yes, that was an absolute ride. Now, the other thing we are doing now, guys, is if you follow us on Instagram, which you should, before we get into the episode topic, I want to talk about this. If you follow us on Instagram, and if you don't, please come and join us. You will know we post about the episodes every time they come out. But Sam has started recording bits of these episodes on her phone visually, and we're going to start playing them as reels. So that will also include, I would imagine, some of the outtakes and some of the funny bits, because I think that's going to be great.
So like when I just fell off the sofa.
I want to leave that in the main podcast. I please. Now, folks, Sam edits, so if she's edited that out, I will personally find that footage and put it on Instagram, because it was a fantastic moment. It's like whenever we were at the where were we? In Birmingham?
Sewing for Pleasure.
Yeah, and I was taking a nice panning photo of these Lady McElroy fabrics, and you turned to me and went, Jess, we got the biscuits. And I was like, I've got to keep it now.
Yeah, well, we have to go more places. I'm taking you to Home Bargains next anyway.
Oh my God, yes.
So.
Yeah, well, in a very literal sense, you took me to Waitrose, but I chose Waitrose this time for biscuit choices. Yeah. You have to take me to Home Bargains, and then we should go somewhere else that has nice biscuits.
Yes, we just go biscuits on tour.
We should do.
Yeah. Well.
Right, okay. Well, that has been... Do you know what? I enjoyed it. I'm down with it. It's fine.
So we are guestless today. It's one of our
We're
and I.
guestless.
Yeah.
We haven't lost them, to be fair, guys. We're meant to be guestless
Yes,
today.
this is one of our planned, just you and I chatting together ones.
It is. The other reason as well, originally we were like, maybe we should have a guest for overcommitting. But then we thought, we don't want to call anyone out for being like, you overcommit, come do this.
And those people who overcommit probably couldn't commit to
the
recording
episode.
a
Exactly.
podcast.
So we just thought, you know what, we'll have a chat, the two of us.
So, this is kind of like, it's not just about overcommitting, it's about the risk of overcommitting as well. And that's always where I'm hovering, is in that risky area. Mm-hmm. My biggest fear is actually letting other people down.
Okay.
So if
I think I'm with you there.
If I say I'll do something, I'll do it, even if it's to my own detriment, because I won't let people down.
Yeah.
So I am always hovering in that overcommitting place, but what probably stops me from agreeing is I don't want to let someone down.
Yeah.
Other people agree because they don't want to disappoint someone in not agreeing.
Yeah. There's people pleasing, which I don't mean pejoratively, because we all do it. It's a recognised behaviour. But yeah, there is also that idea of letting people down. Now, I think there's also a third thing, which is not having an accurate estimation of the amount of time you actually have available and the amount of time something will take. So, a good example, by the time this episode has come out, I will have co-organised an event in the London Festival of Architecture with the university I'm part of. Now, for that event, I have designed a full comms plan and a social media suite, because when the question of marketing originally, this isn't sewing related, but it's a good example.
No,
when the question of marketing originally came up and they went, oh, I've asked so-and-so to do it. And I said, but have you asked them to do all of the social media assets and the content and everything as well? And they said, no, I've just asked them to make a poster. And I said, oh, well, I'll just do the comms plan because it needs to be done. Now, I did it because it needed to be done. Did I need to do it? No. Could I have said, this is what needs to happen? Could you ask the original person if they can still do it, or can we split this between us? But in so doing, I've given myself a huge workload because I didn't feel comfortable. Couldn't hear all that. Because I didn't feel comfortable going, oh, someone else can do this. Don't worry. It's the immortal phrase, oh, it's just one thing.
Yeah, or give a job to a busy person.
Yeah, or the classic, which I know in like police and ambulance circles, but we have so many sirens outside, guys. Nothing's going wrong. It's just I live on a main road. But the classic, which is, oh, just one more thing while you're there.
Yes.
Can you do this? And it's those jobs that take 14 hours. So I think, random example aside, there is the I don't want to disappoint people by saying no. I don't want to disappoint people by not doing it because I've said I'll do it. The, oh, it'll take me 5 minutes when it doesn't.
And I think there's a fourth one.
Oh, yeah?
Which is I don't want to miss out.
Yes. And that's a huge one, I think, in the sewing community and just social media generally. It's FOMO, isn't it? Fear of missing out.
But also, sewing for most of us is our hobby. And it is also fun.
Yeah.
That why wouldn't I want to do some more fun?
Well, exactly. But then also, so I think it's really interesting. So, like, I think some people have a higher tolerance for what one might call admin.
Yeah.
So, for people who don't, a lot of it tends to be women who handle a lot of life admin, mental role, mental load. For people who are comfortable doing bits of admin anyway, if you add that into their hobby where it's like, would you mind helping me organise this fun thing? It's a fun thing for sewists, but it has all of this extra stuff, or it has filming, or there's editing, or there's this extra bits. They may not notice the amount of commitment, whereas if someone asked you in a work context, Sam, I'd like to work on this project with you. Can you film this whole vlog and make this thing by this point? You'd go, let me look at my workload and see if that's doable.
I would now.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
now.
used to.
Yeah,
I used to say yes because I a bit like my hobby. I love my job.
Yeah.
But also, even if you're not someone who's doing like content wherever that is, and you're a sewist taking part, there's still that fun element of wanting to take part in every challenge, because there's a sense of community in taking part.
And you might feel like you're not included if you're not.
Yep. And also, as you said, the FOMO of not taking part, and also that there's that whole aspect of sewing can be a super lonely hobby.
It can be.
And so by joining in or going to all the events and going to socials, because it's great, there's loads of stuff to take part in now, but actually then you can end up overcommitting, even if it's committing to meeting people here for this sewing thing and taking part in all of these challenges and going to this sewing event and this social. Very quickly you can suddenly go, whoa, I've agreed to a lot of things.
I have a whole separate life now that revolves around this.
And how dare work get in the way?
or things like, well, I do think it's important because it can get so overwhelming. And I know, so obviously I've been on YouTube for 4 years now.
Yeah.
The number of collabs I've done with people where it's a 2-part video, so you do a launch and then a reveal, the number of times, for no fault of anyone's, you have to delay the second part because life happens.
Yeah.
And I think the problem is when it's a work thing you commit to, there is a sense of, this is my workload.
Yeah, and I'm getting paid for this.
Exactly. Well, you're getting paid for it, but also you have a much clearer sense of, I have this 9 to 5 to get this done, and this is my workload. Whereas when it's your hobby, you go, oh, but it's a nice thing. Oh, but I like doing that. Oh, but I do have to sew 7 things by tomorrow. Other thing is, I know, like, I run a challenge. I know that stuff happens. People do overcommit. Yeah. But what's really important when you're thinking about what you're able to do, and I do this sometimes, is to physically think how many hours you have in your day to your hobby. And that can be 12, it can be 2. It doesn't, everyone's life is different. But if you think about it and then go, could I get this done in 2 hours? Could I get this done in 4 hours? Could I get this done do I need a day? Do I need a week? Before you say yes, it means you're actually going to enjoy doing it because it isn't stressful, because you've accounted for time. Whereas I think sometimes it turns to ashes in your mouth and you go, this is a lovely thing, but I don't have time to enjoy it because I'm packing it in because I'm doing too many things.
I have massive respect for people who have wanted to join in with things that I'm doing or whatever, and have then said, I'm an overcommitter, I need to not say yes yet. Yeah. And knowing thyself, as Shakespeare says, is so important, because you can say to someone, I'd really love to, but I'm not sure I can at the moment, is almost like saying, it's a way of saying I want to do it, and then stepping yourself back.
Well, exactly.
Same as, I agree with you with the challenges. I love a lot of the challenges because they push my sewing and push me to do things that I've either been putting off or wouldn't do otherwise. For example, like the pogo nip party, Christine, yes, I said the word pogo nip, it pushed me to do a welt pocket.
Right.
And I know I was sewing it the day before the challenge finished, and I said to somebody, it might have been you actually, I don't want to let Christine down.
That's exactly what you said to me.
And you said to me, but she's your friend, you won't mind. And I said, yeah, I know, but it's more that I want to do it, and that's motivating me to do the welt pocket.
Well, exactly. And I think sometimes it depends why you've gone into it.
Yes.
Because for you, a welt pocket's on your make 9.
Yeah.
So you've got an extra bit of pressure, as it were.
Yeah. But also, I really like the sew up cycle one.
Yes, that is very you.
Because I bank up all the things that I can harvest fabric from, and having the challenge, I'm definitely a person who works to deadlines.
Yeah,
me too. And if you're not, then it can become like a very stressful thing. You will often notice, anyone who's noticed when I put pictures up for challenges, they're normally right at the 11th hour. But I've always been that way. At uni, I would do all the reading well in advance, writing the essay. The only way I could do it is to write it right at the last minute.
I did everything at the last minute.
Yeah.
I remember starting reading through to, I think, literally I hadn't done anything like 17, 18 hours before my deadline. And I did everything from reading through to like 3,500 words overnight. Still got a first on that one. Quite happy with it.
Yeah.
But there is a level to which your brain goes, I don't really have time to I'm not going to say that, to mess around.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, you knew exactly. You said, do you know what? Sam has spent so much time editing me out.
Yeah.
You know the ones I lean towards.
Yes.
I'm not going to mess about.
Yeah.
Definitely no F's here. Doing so and so because I have to get this done.
Yeah.
Same as my sewing though.
But it's funny because you and I both like to be organised as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
We both love, like, you know, we organised the entire podcast season 2 before we even started.
Because we want to know what we're going to be last minute about. That's what it is.
There's a structure in our last minuteness. It's the same as like you know, I'm super organised, like, to fit all the things in I do, and you know how like tight I am about my diary, but there is definitely still for me an element of needing sometimes the motivation of there's no chance but to do it now. It definitely kind of gives me a kick in the pants that I need sometimes.
I have 2 settings. I've been working on this for 4 months and I just did it last night.
Yes.
And I don't really have something comfortable in the middle.
Yeah.
Like So Yellow for Endo, I've designed next year's branding already.
Yep.
And I do that stuff now because I know life will be life. And I'll get closer and then I will have some kind of psychotic meltdown that I haven't done the stuff. So sometimes it's about making the most of the time you have. And the problem is, this is where sewing can get difficult.
Yeah.
Because unless you plan to take part in a project, you may not have the stuff in the house to take part, and then you either push yourself and you do something, you make something you're not actually happy with in order to enter the challenge,
or buy something really expensive.
Exactly. Or you know, like, you're not necessarily set up for it. I know me personally, like, the reason I don't do a lot of challenges is I don't actually have that much spare fabric kicking out.
Yeah.
And I don't generally, like, I didn't do So Frugal. I had a plan and everything I was going to, but I was doing So Yellow for Endo. I just didn't have the brain space. I am going to the Southern Social this weekend. Woohoo. And I'm sewing the Xanthi skirt.
So that will be been and gone, and people should see it by the time this comes out.
Yes, people should see it because you know how quickly I sew. I'm not leaving that room without a finished Xanthi skirt. I'm not doing it. I've got a pattern, everything's cut out.
You've got all the bits because they're in the bag. I
have a denim pack as well, like my needles, top stitching thread, everything. I'll bring my heavy duty machine, and sometimes that's what I need. If I've overcommitted, I don't know if you get this, I have a day where I go, oh my God, what have I done? And then I have to sit down.
Is it pre-project dread or mid-project dread?
It's pre-deadline dread.
Okay.
It's where I go. I think everybody has this actually. I'm going to try. Do you know what? I might draw this as a graph. We can put it on the Instagram.
Yeah.
I start with, I'm not very busy at the moment. I could do this.
Yeah.
And then the process of task accumulation makes me feel good. So I accumulate more tasks. And then I go, oh God, I have to do some of these, don't I? I don't want to do those ones because this one's more fun. And then I get something done and I go, see, it's not that difficult. Now I just have to get hang on, when did there become 14 extra things? Panic, have a cup of tea, have a cry, write full list, smash it out in 2 days. That's my process.
That's quite a different graph from my graph.
It is, but it's one of the things I've learned from a PhD is you can't change how you work.
Yeah.
All you can do is recognise its influence and work to it.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's actually probably my number one bit of advice for people overcommitting.
Yeah.
Recognise your own behaviours. Do not try to change yourself. You're perfect as you are. If you're a bit scatty or whatever, you have to recognise what's part of you.
Yep.
And act appropriately. So for some people, that might be writing their projects down in a certain way.
Yeah.
Or blocking them in. I know someone who blocks them in their calendar. So if they say, right, I'm doing this challenge and I'm doing this, so for the month of March, all I'm sewing is these 3 things.
Yeah.
Or they block it out like that. Or it's the same reason I use a paper diary.
Which absolutely freaks me out. Jess uses a paper diary. I use my Google diary and can't bear the thought of a paper diary because I would never have it when I need it.
But you see, mine's like tied to my hand.
I know.
But then the thing is, I find I can't overcommit myself. Legit, I'm not even tying back to it. That's genuinely why.
I would be constantly overcommitting if I used a paper diary. I had to diarise before. I don't know if that's a word.
Diarise.
Yes. Before there was such a thing as an electronic calendar, I was dreadful at it. We used to have these lovely teacher diaries. I would always start with good intentions. I'd get to about October and I'd never write anything in ever again.
See, that's interesting though, because I think, you know this about me, right? I have a diary. You can see them both. I have a diary that goes everywhere with me, and it's not a planner though. I have my planner is over there, and I have yearly tasks, monthly tasks, weekly, and I break it all down. I sit on a Sunday night, I write my list for the week, and I do all of that. My diary is specifically for dates, and the thing is, if I use a digital diary, what I struggle with is I have no concept of how long those things will take. So I overfill a day.
See, I block mine out for the chunk.
We see, I do that too, but for some reason it doesn't go in.
No, different people, you see.
Yeah,
and
whereas...
and that's the great thing about you and I, is we're not both sat here telling everyone to use Google Diaries.
No, but for you block out the time, that works well. For me, it's about... I'm gonna sound insane now, so please bear with. For me, it is about where in the box I have written it and how big I've written it. So if I write it really big, it tends to mean nothing else.
So if you ever go missing, I've got to decode your diary to work out where you might be.
Little writing, small things. Big writing, leave me alone. But it works because anything I write, scribble so sometimes I write keep this week clear at the top of the week, because sometimes on a digital diary what used to happen is I'd go, oh, I kind of need some days free, and then I'd look at my diary and somehow I was booked every day until October. And I go, oh my God. Whereas I go through my paper diary once a month and I block out, so I have at least one day free every single week to do nothing. Or so. But I have to.
I think the thing is, when I was a head teacher, I had to have an electronic diary because my PA accessed it as well. She wouldn't want to keep coming and getting my paperwork.
I have an electronic one for work because
I had to learn how to be organised in that manner. I'm not sure what I did before that. How did I remember to turn up for things?
People just came and got you.
It's too much mental load probably, which is why I led to burnout.
Yeah, probably.
But it works so perfectly for me. So I have my work diary, I have my personal one, and sometimes I'll put the thing in both because I need it to be in both. What I find really hard is I wish we could have a year calendar of all the sewing challenges. And I know that's hard because everybody's mostly running them voluntarily and they don't know whether they'll do it again next year. But I did start making one.
Okay.
And I've got it and I'll share it with anybody who wants it. And I had a lovely chat with someone on Instagram. Really sorry, I can't remember who you are. But they wanted the same. They don't like I do, that when it gets to the 1st of June, I need to find some fruity fabric if I want to take part. I want to be looking when I'm looking for fabric and thinking in advance. So,
that is
for example, I've probably already bought my Sew Yellow for Endo fabric for next year, because I know you'll do it because I'm sat right next to you.
I've just designed the branding for it, so it's happening.
Because I, we've talked about this in episode 1 about shopping consciously for fabric. And so I don't want to panic shop. I don't want to panic make something that doesn't fit in my wardrobe. But I do like, for example, Sew April blouse. It pushed me to actually find blouses that I wanted to wear, which otherwise I wouldn't have done. Because I still think blouse sounds like an old-fashioned word.
It does. I think the problem is, though...
old.
Side note here, though. Blousey is a hugely gendered adjective.
I once had to tell a caretaker off in front of a class of children for saying to a child, don't be a big girl's blouse. And he looked so horrified at me. I got on very well with him, but looked so horrified at me when I said it, because his brain just didn't connect the you're using being feminine as an insult.
But also, if you say to a woman she looks blousy, that means the same as frumpy.
I've never.
So you could say a blousy woman is someone who is like sort of a bit frumpy and potentially overbearing and fluffy and so,
I don't think I've ever used that phrase.
So I don't know if it's more of a Scottish one. Let me know. But that is because it can't be, because it's in like PG Woodhouse and stuff as well. But it is sort of. It's like, do you know what the phrase comes to mind is blousy woman in her mid-40s? That is what it is, and that's something I have read.
Yeah.
through loads of books.
I think if anyone's watched Schitt's Creek, I'm not swearing.
She's not.
Blouse Barn in there.
I love Blouse Barn.
If you haven't watched it, it's worth a watch. Season 1, you've got to let it warm up.
Yeah, you do.
But it is a really tender, kind-hearted, funny TV series. It's on Netflix.
I haven't watched all of it, but I got to about season 2, season 3, I think.
You've got to get
really
season 6 or 7 is it. That's it. It's a bit weepy at the end because it is it. It's just brilliant. Dan Levy.
It's created by Eugene and Dan Levy, who are father and son in real life.
Did you know their daughter's in it as well? She's the one behind the cafe.
Oh my god!
Yes, that's her. That's their daughter.
That's
his daughter. Yeah.
That's
So
great. Anyway,
it's a fabulous
TV show
series, and I think the fact that there's Blouse Barn probably doesn't help with what. So anyway, aside from my silly prejudice,
we do love
about
blouses. To be fair, we just hate the word.
Yeah, and I'm getting over it. I've got to get over it.
I have to say, by the way, just on this, I love it when people like we do irrationally hate a word. So I'm gonna throw my mum under the bus here very quickly because it is funny. My mum hates the word lounge.
Does she?
In reference to houses. So
okay, she come into our lounge.
Yes, it's a living room or a
sitting room.
She'll accept sitting room, I think, but living room, sitting room. She'll even accept drawing room, but she will not accept lounge. I think it's because my grandparents use it. I don't know, but it's so funny because if you say, "Oh, should we go into the lounge?" She goes, "Airports have lounges, hotels have lounges. My house does not have a lounge."
Well, my father-in-law's like that with the word Hoover. Because Hoover is a brand. Vacuum is the and he used to fix them and all that sort of thing. So every time you say Hoover, he goes vacuum like that.
My grandparents say run the vacuum cleaner around, but I think that's because they were both born in the 1930s. So for them, I think Hoover is an American president.
If you ever want to take a little nostalgic trip to see the Hoover building, where they originally built the Hoover vacuum cleaners, it's down the A41 or A40 on the way into
I know
London.
Exactly where it is. It's a big Art Deco one. Because if you drive past it, basically my drive home at like 3 a.m. in the taxi, used to go past it and it's always lit at night.
It's owned by Tesco's now, I think.
God, but it's beautiful. At least they've maintained it. Yeah. Like, it is stunning.
Yeah. So I was going to give another random fact there and it's gone from
words
my
you
head
irrationally
now.
hate.
Yeah. Oh, sitting room is it's funny, isn't it? Sitting room, lounge.
Oh.
Yeah, we have a front room and my other half will keep confusing the front room with the sitting room and I'm like, but the front room's at the front of the house.
The front room only works if that's the shape of your house.
Yes.
What annoys me is when people whose living rooms are not at the front of their house use the term front room.
No,
I'm sorry.
I'm saying to him, no, the front room is at the front. The one at the back is where we sit. That's the sitting room.
See, I'm a living room person. That's what I grew up with. I grew up with living room. I can do, if you say sitting room, I'm not going to be like, you're wrong. Like, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But my grandparents say lounge, and one of the great joys of my childhood and now adulthood is watching my mum get quietly annoyed. They do know she hates it.
But I tell you what, on this subject, how interesting, particularly for our American listeners, that most of their products in America are named after the brand. So they don't say tissue, they say Kleenex.
Yeah, that is weird.
Sticky tape is sellotape because
Mate,
sellotape is a brand.
Though.
We do. But it's in America, it's really common to name the product.
God, it does feel a bit like Brave New World, doesn't it? We're all going to start worshipping Ford soon. I'm trying to think if we do that with anything.
Well, apart from sellotape and
digestives.
Hoover, well, what are they then?
They're called McVitie's digestives. The name has come from McVitie's.
Oh, okay.
Because Americans call laxatives digestives.
I'm loving that you're bringing us back round to biscuit content.
Oh, constant biscuit content.
So I wonder
guys.
if any sewing apparatus is actually named after the brand.
There must be.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm looking over at my sewing stuff now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Because overlockers are just called overlockers or sergers, but then I don't know if that's just a difference in...
Is that like English American?
Yeah, Americans call them sergers.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to Google real time.
Yeah. When we say sewing machine, that's not a brand. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Scissors.
Give us a comment if you know anything.
Oh, hang on.
Oh.
I think serger's a brand name.
Is it?
But an old school one.
Okay.
So, yes, I think Serger is a brand name from what I can see. but I am going to do some more research on that. If you know for definite, do let us know.
And we love a little bit of a history dive here, yeah.
Especially the feminist history of pockets, which I really want to do a mini episode with Sarah on.
I've done a lot of reading into this fallacy that pockets didn't exist.
Yeah, it's just
it's a fallacy.
But it's like as well, like the Chanel, you know, I loved the Chanel exhibition. I had so much fun. And Adam got me the big book from the Chanel exhibition.
Oh.
But one of my favourite things is that the dropped waists, etc., we see in the 1920s are not just a fashion thing. They're because Chanel originally realised that women couldn't bend over to do anything. They couldn't look after kids. They couldn't pick things up. They couldn't move around. So the dropped waist comes from women starting to work more.
Ah, interesting.
And from... Yeah, so actually be able to use your clothes as functional items rather than something you're meant to sit and look pretty in. Because functional clothes have always existed, but it's the first time function became fashionable in that way.
Yeah.
Because you can't really bend over to pick up your children in a corset, can you?
No, you can't. Well, you can't even really breathe, can you?
No, you can't really exert yourself at all, really. Is there anything else that's a brand name? I'm trying to think.
We will be returning to this.
Yeah, oh my god, yeah, we have
podcasts.
to. Oh, I suppose actually there's a couple of, sorry, last one.
Yeah.
There's a couple of fabrics, like Tencel and stuff's a brand, I'm pretty sure.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, and like Ecovera and stuff. Anyway, we'll come back to this, but this is good fun. We should do something on this.
So, I was thinking, I am someone who people often say, how do you fit everything in?
Likewise.
So, I was thinking, if someone is thinking, can I do more? Am I at risk of overcommitting? Are you constantly overcommitting, Sam and Jess? How do you manage?
I think there's something we should say here, first and foremost, as two women who constantly get asked how we do it, rather than are you okay with the amount you have going on? And I would encourage you to ask the second of those questions.
I'll tell you what, there is one lovely person who always asks me that, Mary.
Yeah.
The other day when I was having... I'd put the Eventbrite tickets up for the virtual social. So if you'd like to meet Mary and myself, do come and get a ticket for the virtual social. There's a daytime and an afternoon/evening one every month. We'll put the link in the podcast. You can just get tickets. It's donation only. Sorry, little self-plug there.
Quite right.
That's okay. And Mary and I met through her coming to... Oh, you know this because this was in the previous episode. So Mary, who you met in episode 2, is one of the people that if she sees me put something up and it's either not quite right or she sees me talking about being a bit poorly, she will message me and say things like, how about doing one thing less? How about taking a breath? Are you okay? Yeah. And it's really nice to have somebody who does that.
And it is great. I have a couple of people, depending what it is, who will drop me a message and go, are you all right? And there's one YouTube commenter as well who goes, you seem to have a lot going on. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I see it now.
So I think we're both people who enjoy being busy.
So, and I think this is really important to highlight because I went through a little period with this where I felt kind of bad. I was like, oh, it's self-inflicted. It's not. It is totally okay to enjoy being busy and do a lot. But the point at which you tip into doing too much is different for everybody.
And I want to really be clear here that I'm doing busy because it's how I relax. Yeah. It's not to avoid something.
Being busy is how I engage with the world. Yeah. Is how I see it.
Yeah. And I'm always really mindful of not using it to numb out or block out things that I'm trying to avoid. Yeah. And I know myself well enough to know that's not actually what I do. I actually just don't touch it. Yeah. But there is always that risk. If we get too busy, we can use it as an excuse to avoid things. I suffered extreme burnout from being a teacher, particularly being a head teacher during lockdown. And that's very different in that I can look back now and see it, but you can't see it when you're in it.
No, you can't.
But the busy I have now, I get up and I'm excited and I'm joyful. Yeah. And if you're not sure if you're burning yourself out or not, read about the sort of symptoms of burnout because they're very different from being busy and joyful.
I would also encourage, on a very similar note, one of my old bosses, who was a maternity cover, and she's one of the best bosses I've ever had. And she was someone who'd been a CEO for years and then she was retraining as a sort of senior HR person. So she came to, basically, she was like our director during COVID, and everyone else was furloughed. So I spent a lot of time with her, just me and her, through COVID. And she said one of the best things to do is, she's like, have a note on your phone or something and write down what burnout or overstress looks like on you.
Yeah.
And not just how you feel, but physical signs. So, and I really encourage this, and this is something I found really helps, because sometimes you notice physical signs more than you do how you're feeling, because you can ignore how the human brain is a wonderful thing. You can ignore how you're feeling.
It can lie to you something terrible.
But you do notice, for example, for me, I'm someone who wears dresses and heels, and pretty much, not at the moment because I'm running a lot and I'm at home, but normally full face of makeup, and that's me happy, isn't it? Polished and enjoying my outfits, enjoying fashion. That's what I look like, happy. You will notice when I start to have too much on, because the enormous sweatshirts come out, my hair goes up, I won't wear makeup, I will look really tired, I will then start to be snappy, but in a different... So sometimes I can be snappy when I'm busy. If you ask me like such an irrelevant question, I did used to get in trouble for this.
I do feel you and I are both quite similar, and we don't suffer fools gladly.
No, we do not. Do you know, I think I really struggled at work, because I did once get told off in my old job, where they were like, you're being a little bit snappy, and I was like, look, at first
I'm too busy to deal with this silliness.
I was like, do you know what? I don't want to upset anyone. And like the one person I felt I snapped to, I apologised immediately. Yeah. It wasn't about that person, actually. Someone had witnessed me apparently snapping at someone else. But the other person is one of my best friends, who was like, oh my God, no, if she'd snapped at me, I'd know. But I was like, I'm sorry. It was either, please, can we talk about this later, for this person I actually did snap at. Or the other option was me going, what on earth are you... Why? Why are you asking me this question?
Yeah.
What is this isn't relevant for 18 months.
I know. I just was like, just read the email I sent.
Oh my God. It's read the email I've sent. It's... You clearly have... It's conversations that start with, hi, hope you're well. When, particularly my old job as an events manager, I am run off my... I've literally jogged into the office to pick something up, and someone goes, oh, hi, how are you doing? Can I... And you're like,
Can you
no,
not
I
say?
can't.
No.
Give me 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Or send me a message that I can deal with in my own time. But anyway, back to overcommitting, because the reason I bring this up is, if you start to recognise those signs in yourself, or if you are the kind of person who, for me... I avoid doing something if I'm scared I'm not going to be able to do it or complete it effectively.
Snap.
Yeah?
If I don't think I'm going to do a good job of it, I'd rather not do it.
Yeah, me too.
Which doesn't help when it's something you've got to do.
Yeah, exactly. It's when you have to do it and your brain's like, oh, but I might fail, so I don't want to do it.
It's not even the failure for me. It's I want to commit enough time and enough effort to do it well, and to go through the bits where I mess it up and then come out of it and deal with it.
Yes.
And it's weird because people go, oh, you so high expectations to be perfect. It's not about that. It's about high expectations to get to the point where I'm satisfied with it, however many journeys that takes to get there.
Can I ask you a question? Because I think we are exactly the same on this. I would rather fail completely than do something to a standard I don't expect of myself.
Yes.
And the thing is, other people might go, oh, it was fine. But if it wasn't the level of, like, that I think it should be, I don't actually care what other people think.
I used to be exactly like that. And this is where I think the 20-year journey I've been on, that you're still to go on, I've had to learn that good enough is done.
Yeah. So one thing I want to add very quickly is that we've talked a lot about overcommitting from our own experience. And there are 3 pieces of advice I would like to give you. If you are someone who has just realised they have overcommitted themselves. Firstly, do not add beating yourself up to your list of things to do. It's not going to help anyone. And honestly, it's not going to make you feel any better. It's not going to make you want to do any of it. So firstly, be nice to yourself. Recognise you've done it, but beyond that, let's fix the situation. Let's not hyper-focus on what we've done to cause it. That's not to say don't be self-aware, but don't add going, I'm an idiot, why have I done this to your list, because it's just not going to help.
No.
Thing 2 on my list is to see what you can drop. This is what I do every time. I
Snap.
write an honest list of everything and put stuff on your list, anything, whatever is in your brain, stick it all down, however that looks, and then I would go through it generally myself. I normally do it physically and I do it with a highlighter, and I highlight the things that involve other people. So sometimes what happens is I've overcommitted to myself, which we all do. You go, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then you build your sense of disappointment because you go, actually, there isn't physically time. So if you prioritise thinking about the things, right, who does this involve? Is it just me? Does it affect someone else if I don't do it?
Yeah. There's a quadrant thing you can draw, isn't there?
There is. You can use a matrix.
Yeah.
And you can basically put...
things that have to be done, things that are urgent, things that no one knows. It's a good thing.
It is a good thing to do. And if we remember what it's called, we'll stick it in the show notes because I do know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
It's a prioritisation grid and it does work. But have a think through what affects other people and what is just you.
Yeah.
My top tip is, unless the stuff that you have promised yourself is essential, stick it on the back burner, or it's something you desperately want to do. But if it's just something you said, oh no, I said I'd tidy the bathroom as well, stick that in the bin for starters.
Yeah.
That's not essential. No one's going to die if you don't do it.
It'll still be there next week.
Well, exactly. So have a think about what's going on. And then if you need to back out and say you can't do something, that is okay.
Yes. Much respect. I always respect people who actually can do it and say it. Just say it.
What I am going to say, though, is if you know you're not going to be able to do it, tell the other person. The most respectful thing you can do is tell them as soon as you know. Yeah. And do not stress. Now, for So You're the Friendo, I'm not going to out any of the people involved, but I had someone else lined up to do the very first Instagram line of the season, and she was sort of being very quiet, and I was kind of having to chase for things, and I hadn't heard, and it was 4 days before she let me know she wasn't going to be able to do it. Now, had she told me a month prior when she'd said she'd started to think she wasn't going to be able to do it, it would not have been a problem in the slightest.
And
it still wasn't, because I had a backup person.
And it is hard because we've got to come to a self-realisation that we're going to have to say it.
But it's more important once you know to not put it off and to just go, look, I'm sorry, and be honest. I'm sorry, I've really overcommitted myself. I can't do it.
And you know what I always say? The people who really matter will be completely understanding, and they'll be fine about it. The people that don't matter are the ones who get uppity. And do we want them in our lives anyway? No, we don't.
Well, also, being brutally honest, I'm not religious, but the Bible springs to mind here. He who has not overcommitted himself will throw the first stone. You know, like, it's... I don't know a single person in the sewing community who doesn't wildly overcommit themselves.
And do you know what? Exactly. We've all been there. That's one of the such important things about supporting each other, is it's going to be fine. It's going to be okay. No, none of this, you know, whether it's... you know, I often have backups of people who can support me if I can't do something, because sometimes you can feel something coming and you just think, I need a backup here.
Yeah.
So I line up backup people who can help me with the in-person social, the virtual socials, because actually I wouldn't want to let other people down by it not happening. But what I might be able to do is go, I can't be there, but I know someone who can help me.
Which,
it's taken me a long time to ask for help in my life.
Now, this was going to be my final point, is ask. Just ask. So, remember, sit down, take a break, don't beat yourself up, make a list, figure out what affects other people and what just affects you, rate it in importance, use a RACI matrix, whatever you want to do, figure out what needs doing and what doesn't. If you can't do it, tell them, and if you can but you need help, ask. So for So You're the Friendo, I was having an absolute minute, because this year has just been quite crazy. A challenge. It's been really quite difficult, and I love So You're the Friendo, and at no point will I not do it, because I adore it. But I suddenly realised that normally by the certain time I was working at, I had scheduled everything for the month and I hadn't done anything. So I did have a bit of a cry, because one does, and then I messaged my friend who is a social media manager, and I said, hello, can I make you lunch, and can you come over and can you help me take a load of proper camera photos, and can you help me schedule a load of stuff? And she went, of course I can. But I booked that in, so I was like, in 3 weeks' time, Louisa's going to come over and we're going to schedule on that day. We're going to do it then. So the dual effect of that was, firstly, I've got some help, I'm not doing it on my own. But secondly, it assigned a specific time that I was going to be doing that thing. So it suddenly took it off my list. Because it was like, no, that's happening on the 17th.
I do that. I've got sticky on chalkboards on my cupboard in my office / sewing space. And I just draw everything out sometimes when it feels like it's spiralling. But it took me more than 40 years of my life to learn to ask for help.
Yeah, and it's the most
because I saw it as failure.
Yeah.
And I never specifically categorise it in that way, but now when I look back, that was what I saw it as. I saw it as like not being good enough if I had to ask. What I've realised now is it's an amazing gift. Others are super grateful to be involved in your life.
Well, also
the right people. Remember, these are the right people.
Yeah,
if you ask someone and they don't want to help you, they're the wrong person.
And they might be the wrong person for that thing.
Yeah.
Or it just might be, like, I would agree, it's taken me a while to learn to ask for help. And it's actually something I found through counselling as well.
I'm glad you found it much earlier than I have.
Yeah, well, it makes a big difference. It's that ability to go, right, I can't do all of this myself. I can't. But with help I can, or you will know what the right decision is, because you will instantly stop feeling less sick, less stressed. You will feel like a weight has gone.
But also, sometimes asking other people brings them into your life in a way that they maybe didn't have access to.
Exactly.
And also, if we keep trying to do everything all ourselves, we can almost create like a barrier between us and other people, because they think that we're like this amazing thing to attain to. And I realised this quite early on in my teaching career. If I never made mistakes in front of the children, then how could they believe me when I said that making mistakes was okay?
And how can you model that?
Yes.
You have the opportunity to model what it looks like to be okay making those mistakes.
Yeah, so it's hard because there's a lot of pressure on you. You've got these 32 pairs of eyes looking at you. Yeah. But learning to model making mistakes, learning from things, thinking about things was such an important part of teaching. Translating that into the rest of my life took a bit longer. Yeah. But it is a gift, because the right person, if you ask them for help, will often be delighted that they can be part of whatever it is you're doing as well.
Yeah, I think so. And I also think something I've really struggled with.
I'm not sure how someone helps you finish a So Frugal challenge, but...
Oh my God, they give you ideas. That's what they do. Or they say, make this, or this pattern you can do without a printer, or you can do this.
Or they might say, just don't do it.
Exactly, that's always an option.
True, actually,
not to spotlight So Frugal, this is just the one I didn't have time to do. So it's a good example.
The one that I left right to the last minute.
But what I do want to say, and I think this is something that's quite difficult, is I hate it when people, and it happens to me roughly 2 to 3 times a week, because in technical terms I have about 3 jobs. Yeah. You know me, I'm very busy. I do a lot of different things. So do you. But people go, oh my God, how do you do it? And the problem is, I have to come up with a self-deprecating answer that doesn't sound like I'm sinking. Because the thing is, I may not be sinking. I might be fine. Yeah. I might be really struggling. And actually, I think sometimes when we go, oh my God, how do you do it all? It's not the compliment we think it is. It actually, in some ways, I think, forces that person to maintain an appearance that they're fine doing it all. Whereas actually sometimes going, that's a lot. Is everything, is everything okay?
I probably did used to be like that. Now I'm not bothered. I'm like, whatever now,
I've become more aware of it. Yeah. Because I watch the impact on other people as well. Where people go, oh my God, how'd you do it? And you see that person going, oh, it's fine, really. And you look at them and you go, you're not okay.
No, I hate the word fine.
Yeah. Oh my God, no one says fine when they're fine.
No, I think we mentioned that before, actually.
We did. Yeah.
I can never say that enough. Don't use the word fine. Apart from for hair, if your hair's quite fine.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can say, like, I always know, because I have a work answer to that question, like with clients, where they go, and how are you? And I go, I am very well, thank you. How are you? And that is my, everything's absolutely fine. We're efficient. We're cracking on.
And actually, sometimes I don't want to answer the question in the way that would be truthful anyway. No, of course not. You're not the right person for me to have that chat with.
Oh, yeah. Or sometimes you have to have, but asking for help can be such a signal. So my friends know I am sort of terminally busy in some ways. So it's, when I did ask for help, one of my friends just goes, oh God, it must be bad. Absolutely, I'll come help.
I think my other half would know if I wasn't okay, if I wasn't like a happy busy. he'd be like, what's happened? It's like tonight I trot off. He knows that I'll reappear home at some point, but he knows I'm having a lovely time recording this with you. I think what I was thinking about is I had to stop quite early on when I started watching all the YouTube vloggers. I had to stop that sort of natural human tendency we have around comparison and it being the thief of joy.
That's a huge thing.
I hope that when you listen to watch Jess and I don't believe any of them do it intentionally. Let's be super clear about that. But I am trying to intentionally sort of flip it round to try and not create comparison.
Yeah.
Because by accident, it's a human trait within ourselves that we do that to ourselves unless we consciously work not to do it. And I think there is that risk sometimes if we see all these challenges and see all the people taking part, that we might think, am I not a good enough sewist if I don't take part?
Yeah.
Am I not this? But actually...
am I not a good enough vlogger because I don't put a video out every week?
Yeah, and I think it's constantly thinking, is this bringing me joy? If it's not, then I need to readdress how I'm thinking about this, because the second we fall into the comparison trap or the FOMO trap or any of those things, we suddenly start robbing the joy, and we've got to catch ourselves when we're doing it.
Absolutely.
And I caught myself quite quickly doing that. And stopped myself, but we can do it because the community is amazing and there's so many resources and so much inspiration, but we have to watch that we're doing the right things with the stuff that we're getting, I think.
We do, and I think there's something else to be said as well, and this is my top tip if you are... It works actually, whoever you are, but particularly if you create sewing content in any way, even if you just stick stuff on Instagram and finish making it,
blog
or
posts,
you write blogs,
pattern
anything
reviews,
you do,
yeah,
it should be fun.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give the example of my YouTube now. In person, when I go outside, I'm quite a polished human. On YouTube, I'm like a little sewing gremlin. I never wear makeup. My hair is always up. I'm in sort of a comfy sweatshirt, shorts. I'm ready to sew. And that's how personally I choose to appear on YouTube. Because if I start putting makeup on and choosing a nice outfit, I get nervous.
Interesting.
I am better to... I mean, I still film and it's still fine,
Yeah.
but it puts me in a different headspace. Whereas all my sew-alongs, you will see, or like my videos, I will just start and I will just hold up my phone and go, hey, I'm doing this, come join.
Yeah.
Because I don't want YouTube to become a source of stress for me in that way. I just want to feel comfortable however I am. And because I've always done that on my YouTube, it's the same reason I barely edit my vlogs. I top and tail them and then I try and take out anything
I
really
do a lot of
egregious.
yawning in mine. I don't know what happens. It must be the way I use my oxygen when I'm talking. But I do a load of yawning.
When you
so I have
say
to edit
it must
those.
be the way I use my oxygen, do you mean it's the way I breathe? It's not like you photosynthesize like a plant. What is going on? Sam uses her oxygen differently.
Yes,
to her
I do.
health.
I'm so special. I use my oxygen. Like,
Sorry, I am just mocking you.
I've got secret gills.
Oh,
you know.
God.
How I would want to end the overcommitting bit of the episode is you do as much or as little as you want, but as long as it keeps you connected to the part of you that caused you to start doing this,
Exactly.
then that's the great bit. And just take care that you don't lose yourself.
Yeah, be
in
honest
it.
with yourself at all times. You can tell everyone else you're fine if you want to. We won't judge you because we've all done it. But be honest with yourself and don't try and change yourself. That's probably my biggest bit of advice is the most important thing you can do is recognise that the habits you have, a lot of them, or the way you approach tasks is ingrained over years. So you can change little things. Like you can say, I'm going to start writing them down. Or you can start...
I tried that. Didn't work for me.
But you can try tiny little add-ons to your habits, because habits are different.
Yes.
But actual behaviours that you've built across your life, you've got to work within them sometimes. You've got to recognise you'll do...
Mine are, when you said, what can you drop? Or what I drop is tidying up. Yeah. There's someone in my house who really doesn't like that I drop the tidying up when I'm busy.
And who could it be? But I'm going to share my final mantra, which might have some overcommitters. And it's come from my running, but I've started applying it to the rest of my life. It's run the mile you're in. Stop thinking about everything that's coming.
Yeah.
Just do the thing you're doing.
And mine is you can't eat an elephant all at once.
No, you cannot. That's what my history teacher used to have. Eat your elephant in chunks.
Yes.
I love, but it's true. So
I love that one so much.
it is brilliant. But,
Someone then did once say to me, well, would you want to eat an elephant? I went, you're missing the point.
yeah, well, or are they? Because you might be avoiding your elephant tasks, and you could just not do them, and then you'd be fine. You wouldn't have
It's
to
okay,
eat
we
an
could just
elephant.
spend an hour talking about the ethics of eating an elephant instead.
We could, and don't get me started. But yeah, guys, look after yourselves.
I think we should, at this point,
Yeah.
just have a little bit of sewing content.
Oh my god, yeah, we should.
So, this could be the episode that for biscuiteers, they may have got all of this. And those of you who are not biscuiteers will have missed a chunk.
Oh yes, so you have to join
just
the
little
biscuit tin to
teaser
find
there,
out why.
if you find out what you missed,
Now,
basically.
in terms of
So,
sewing content, what are you sewing?
I am in a trouser pursuit phase.
Goodness me, that sounds absolutely indecent. Oh my god, it does.
Oh, dear.
You're pursuing
I need a bit of
trousers
trouser.
left, right,
Well,
centre.
before we started recording, we were discussing Tom Hiddleston, weren't we?
We were.
So,
We
yeah.
were. You have to leave it. Yeah.
For anybody who would like to know, just I don't know if you can see behind the many notifications.
I can see Tom Hiddleston's forehead and neck behind her.
which is my phone lock screen. So
Oh
yes,
my god.
it's fine.
Now I should say we weren't just discussing Tom Hiddleston.
No.
We were. The Night Manager is a great TV show.
Yes.
Watch it.
So actually, my trouser pursuit phase is I had a winter phase of this as well.
So please clip
Yes.
this up and put it on Instagram, please.
Yeah. So I had a winter phase where I needed to find some comfy winter trousers that weren't joggers, and I succeeded. And I'm pretty sure in season 1 I talked about that because I
did.
talked
They're
a
great.
lot about that. So now I'm on that phase in the spring summer version. So I've got a wide leg stretch waist version. That's okay, but sometimes we want different variety of trousers. So I've actually been looking at So Liberated patterns.
Yes. Who
And
I've never tried.
No, me either. And I saw it because someone I follow on Instagram was sewing one of their trousers that was sort of that barrel leg shape, which is quite popular in the shops at the moment, I believe. And
What do you mean?
barrel leg.
Yeah.
So, well, just think of a barrel shape and they do like that and then go in at the ankles.
Are they structured?
So it depends on what fabric you sew them in. So when you cut them,
okay.
they're cut to hang out like that. So obviously if you do them in like a twill, you would see the shape. There's barrel leg jeans at the moment as well.
I think I do know the ones you mean.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that was what they're called.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's not
okay,
a
I'm
particularly
there.
glamorous name, is it? But I started looking at their patterns and they've got quite a nice variety of different trousers. And as you know, I do love a pattern that has lots of options.
Yes, you do.
And they've got this gorgeous pattern with so I'm just showing Jess a picture of barrel leg trousers while we're talking. No, they're not barrel leg trousers. They're a very poor imitation of them.
Oh.
Like that's it. There you go. There.
Oh, they're like French jeans. Like
Oh, I don't know. They're just
yeah,
barrel
yeah.
leg.
Okay.
So, So Liberated have got a pair of trousers that's a barrel leg, but then they've also got these ones with these amazing different like diagonal pockets and yoke, and you can have it with or without a fly zip, and with a flat front or an elasticated back. So really versatile patterns. And then another trouser which is a bit like the Till in the Button Stella jogger but different. So it's got more sort of fabric on the leg. So if you sold it with like a viscous jersey, it would be really lovely. Jess is now on their site looking.
Well, were you telling me about another pattern from here?
Well, no, not before.
No. Someone
And then
else has been telling me about
I
something.
fell down a hole. They've got about 4 trouser patterns, and whilst recording this, they've also got 30% off the trouser.
Yes, they do.
The patterns.
So these ones.
Yes, so that's the
Chanterelle pants and shorts pattern. They're American, so liberated.
Yeah. And if you look at the variety, so I'm probably going to give them a good go.
Yeah.
I'm going to try out some different trouser patterns because I do love the Closet Core sepia pants, but they are a Closet Core crew pattern, so they're not accessible to everybody.
I cannot recommend the Closet Core Pietras enough. You know this.
I know you love those. I'm thinking about those
I'm
as well.
obsessed.
If you, I think there, look at the nice.
Yeah, so there is a high-waisted, elasticated wide leg. There is the barrel leg elasticated one. The pockets are enormous.
And
shorts.
2 different, and then there's another one as well. There's several different really nice trouser patterns.
For anyone who's interested, it's in sizes 0 to 34.
That's good.
But there are no top and bottom measurements I can see on the website.
No, nice variety of trousers. If you go back and look at the other trouser patterns, so you've also got, they've got like courses as well, so you can do like pant fitting courses.
I like that skirt.
I know you'd like that, so it's very
that's why I know who So Liberated are. Loads of people keep telling me to make the estuary skirt.
There you go.
Which is like a floaty button down skirt, and I have been thinking about it.
So you look at these ones.
Oh, so there's an expansion pack for a zip tie.
But then you can see the barrel leg shape there.
I do prefer it with a zip tie, I think, actually.
Keep going. She's going. She's keeping going. Keep going. There's
in the hinterland.
Oh yes, that's
a
lot
lot
of people
make
like
the
that.
hinterland.
Yeah, we're just getting there.
Oh my god, there's so many things.
Hang on, we're just pausing a minute while Jess gets to the.
I don't think it's going to load
here we go.
well. Okay.
They've got quite a few courses on fitting bodices.
They do.
There, look at these ones.
Oh,
the pyjamas are nice.
Those are great. The Kosesha?
Yeah, and they're the ones with the click on the Kosesha, and they're the ones with the interesting yoke. Back yoke, I think.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, there is a sale on at the time of recording.
Whether they'll, but they'll have a sale again.
Yeah, so definitely. Ooh.
See, Jess is loving these.
Hello.
Yeah.
They have a side zip.
Yeah.
But it's like a side. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I might have to make
going.
These.
Wait till you see. Look at that. But wait till you see there's a fabric where they've done it two-tone. Look at that. Look. That one there.
Oh my god.
Swipe one. Really interesting.
Right. I need to make these. I might get these in the sale. I love them.
So, some great sewing content where I'm influencing Jess immediately to shop. We will put the link to these patterns in the show notes.
Do you know what I'm going to do? Is I'm going to get a pair of those and I'm going to make them for my conference.
Ooh.
Because that segues neatly into what I'm sewing for. So, last week when this episode came out, by the time this episode comes out, I will have just got back from the Netherlands. From a conference I was attending, which is a very big deal, big international conference. And next week, I'm off up to Glasgow to present at the Leisure Studies conference as well. So I'll be speaking there, and I want a really nice outfit to feel confident on stage. Now, when I go to the Netherlands, I'm going to take mostly dresses because I would imagine it'll be fairly warm in June. But Glasgow in July, I've got a 50-50 chance of trousers.
Trouser would be nice, particularly in sort of like a viscous linen.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, a viscous linen or a very lightweight denim.
Ooh,
like a bull denim or something.
Or like a chambray.
Maybe, but I tend to look like a paper bag in chambray. Like I look very crumpled.
But you can get the nice ones. Christine Gemini Stitches got one with like a metallic thread down it. It was a bit like more structure.
I could get a chambray, like a striped chambray.
Yes. Yeah, that would be nice.
Oh, am I going to have to get this pattern, do you think?
Wow. So, we gave you some sewing content at the end.
Yeah, we did at the end. To be fair, we did talk sewing all through, but I do think this is a topic we actually wanted to cover in the first season, but we didn't feel we got quite the right angle on it. So hopefully today has been useful. There will be a slightly longer version of this episode.
And I do want to say, we all sew differently, and you and I sew very differently, which we've talked about before. Also, don't beat yourself up if you've got 27 projects on the go like I have, because that's just how my brain works, and that's where my brain is comfortable. And I completely understand that for other people, that's like the most horrific thing.
Yeah.
But find where your comfort is.
And the flip side of that, if it takes you 4 weeks to sew a blouse, don't worry about it.
Doesn't matter.
It's about
if it's in the joy of the journey. And I know people might think I don't have joy in the journey because they might.
You do. Your journey's just a different. Your journey is. I think of your journey as a series of trips.
And much of my journey starts in my head at 4 a.m. in the morning.
Oh my god.
So the bit that people often don't see, well, unless you watch all of my vlogs, is that there's a huge amount of thought and planning that's part of my journey before the execution.
Yeah.
So I love shopping my stash, looking through patterns, like that. Before I even get to this trouser, you're hearing this in July, back in the beginning of May, I started my trouser pursuit.
Yes. Which, I'm sorry, will never not be funny.
and a series of trips for trouser pursuit sounds even worse.
Can we put something up on the Instagram for this episode that has please guess what Sam means by Sam's trouser pursuit? wrong answers only.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, no, I want to do that. That'd be so
I
funny.
think thinking about my trouser pursuit may be a suitable place to end this episode.
Oh my goodness, I just cannot. What we will do though is do a final encouragement for overcommitting.
Yeah.
Talk to everyone around you.
Yes,
Talk
find
to your
out other
support
people's
network.
journeys.
Yeah, and
come
particularly go to a sewing social, chat to other sewists.
Chat to us virtually. Remember, I do run them. You can find out how other people do. Sometimes people email me a question and I ask it for them.
Yeah.
So if you don't feel you want to ask it, I can ask it on your behalf as well.
And on that similar note, we have got a email for the podcast, and we would love you to send us your dilemmas, your questions,
thoughts,
anything, so that we can either put them into this season or to the next one.
Facts that build on from what we've said. Anything really. We'll put it in the show notes as well.
We will. We'll put it in.
And you're going to want to say it right now, aren't you?
I am, yeah. Because I've got the email open.
Can I beat you there?
Probably not.
We're racing each other. I'm there.
Okay, so newbiscuit@gmail.com.
We got there exactly at the same time.
But I'm smug because I said it first. So thank you guys so much for watching. We are so appreciative of our fabulous audience. Make sure that next time you overcommit, don't beat yourself up for it. We all do it. Stick this episode on, make your list, make yourself a cup of tea, and crack on. We know you can do it.
And if you're overcommitting has caused you to lose your sewing mojo, go back to season 1 and listen to that episode. There's got loads of advice in there. And also don't forget to rate, review, and tell other people about the pod.
And please subscribe. You know, just leave us a nice wee note. There also, if you want to join us, as you will have heard, join the Biscuit Tin. We've got some special benefits, some bonus episodes, and for those wonderful nosy sewists who want to know how I'm getting on with my wedding dress before the vlogs come out end of the year, I'm doing a little surprise episode about that as well.
Special content in there. Hello, this is Editing Sam, and I'm hopping in at this point to say that one of our wonderful biscuiteers has won the mug prize, which you may have seen pop up on Instagram. We've got some amazing mugs with our podcast on, and on the back it says, "What biscuit are you?" Well, I'm delighted to say that Liz of The Baker That Sews has won the mug. There will be another giveaway at another time for another mug as well. But Liz, if you can reach out and contact us, and I'll reach out and contact you. But congratulations, you've won the first ever mug that's gone out into the wild. No one else apart from Jess and I have one. If you would like to become a member, all the information is in the show notes and it's all over on Ko-fi. There will be, as we mentioned earlier in the episode, a bonus length episode of this with some unheard of parts that no one else can hear, and there's other bonus content too. Back to the main podcast.
So thank you all so much for listening. As always, remember not to overcommit and have a brilliant rest of your week. We'll see you in 2 weeks for another extra special episode. Bye.
I just need to pause a minute while I get the biscuit.
Oh my